Hi, crocodiles. Good morning and happy, happy Friday. It's one of the best days of the week. I'm so excited to be with you today for our community circle. I would love to start first with doing our bucket filler pledge. Let's try again today, just like we did yesterday. I'll say it first and then I'll point to you, and I'd like for you to repeat it after me. Are you ready? You hold up your right hand. Here we go. I'm a bucket filler each and every day. Kind things I do, kind things I say. And I do my best not to ever dip. And I say I'm sorry if I ever slip. Excellent, crocodiles. Speaking of being a bucket filler, I have another bucket filler story to share with you. So there's a series of bucket filler books and tons of different activities and songs and breathing strategies and pledges that we do in the crocodile class that all connect to being a bucket filler and not a bucket dipper. I would love to share with you this story. How full is your bucket? Felix was putting one of his last blocks on his tower when his little sister came in. I want to build with you, she said. Felix scowled. Go away. You're too little. I'm big. Stay back. You're going to knock it over. I can be careful. Go play with your baby toys, Anna. And then look, they all crashed to the ground. I bet Felix knew that was going to happen, and that's why he wasn't exactly the most kind big brother to his sister. Grandpa, he yelled. Grandpa shook his head. Felix, you just dipped your sister's bucket. Like everyone else, you know, Anna has an invisible bucket. And when it's empty, she feels bad. But when it's full, she feels great. Did you ever notice your own bucket? Invisible bucket? Sometimes Felix couldn't quite tell when his grandfather was joking. So I can tell crocodiles that because Felix is not really sure what Grandpa's talking about, he's never heard of what it means to be a bucket filler. But the next morning when Felix woke up, there it was, a small gray bucket just floating above his head. Now, crocodiles, is that really there? Or do you think he's just becoming aware of what Grandpa was sharing with him? You're right. He really doesn't have a bucket sitting on top of his head. But now he's going to start learning and understanding what Grandpa's been saying. When Felix came down to have breakfast, his mom was in a hurry. I've got a meeting this morning, and it's almost time for me to go. Anna, be still. Look at the mama's eyes. You can tell she's stressed with time. She's frustrated. Oh, no. Felix, look what happened. Not really the best morning for everybody, is it, crocodiles? Felix slipped and cocoa wheats scattered all over the floor. Felix, yelled his mom, you should have used the stool to reach that. Felix could feel his bucket dip. Drip, drip, drip. Ha ha, Anna laughed as she crunched the cereal under her feet. Get that broom and clean that up before you miss the bus, fussed his mom. So Felix is getting his bucket dipped because he feels like, he didn't exactly do anything helpful. He made a mess. His mom fussed at him. His sister's making a mess. With the school bus honking, Felix quickly swept up those cocoa wheats and grabbed the last blueberry muffin. But before he could even take one bite, Buster jumped up and grabbed the muffin from his hand. Drip. There's his bucket, crocodiles. Another drip out of his bucket. Hey, look at Felix's new backpack. My baby brother has one just like it. Drip. That was definitely not kind of that other boy to say that to Felix, was it, Crocodiles? His bucket just got dipped when that kid said something not very nice. And these kids back here whispering and kind of making fun of Felix. Look at his bucket dripping again. Watch out, shrimp. Another drip. Poor Felix. I wish he was at Lusher with us. We would take really good care of him. It was still morning, and Felix's bucket was almost empty. Now look at him, Crocodiles. He's not sad. He's angry. That's what typically happens when people get really empty buckets, Crocodiles. It turns from sadness to just anger because they think if they're unkind to others, then somehow it'll fill their bucket. But it never works out that way. As he watched his classmates walk into the room, he secretly hoped that they would trip and fall. That's what it feels like when you have an empty bucket. So, see, he doesn't know how to get his bucket full. He wants a full bucket, but he doesn't know how to get to it. Felix slumped in his seat and waited for something else bad to happen. Mrs. Bumblenickel walked slowly to his desk and handed him a paper. He could hardly bear to look. Felix, you wrote a wonderful story. Would you please share it with the class? Felix grinned and felt a big drop go right into his bucket. Wow. He made an A on his paper, and his teacher wrote a really encouraging note. There's that drip going back into the bucket. Drop, 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 plop, plop. As Felix stood up and read his paper, the kids in his class really enjoyed it, and he could feel it. All those drops were going into his bucket, Crocodiles. The class grew quiet. They laughed at the right places. They oohed at the scary parts. And when Felix finally read the end, everyone clapped, even Emily, who sat next to him and didn't usually like dinosaurs. Felix felt a whole shower of drops land in his bucket. Maybe the day wouldn't be so bad after all, he thought. Drop. He read a I love you note in his lunchbox from his mom. Another drop went in his bucket. Team captains got picked. Felix got picked as a captain. Another drop in his bucket. He went to the art studio. His art teacher gave him a compliment on his artwork. Another drop. Cool laser ant backpack, said his friend. Wow, she complimented him on his backpack, and a drop went into the bucket. By afternoon, Felix's bucket was nearly full. And look, Crocodiles, you can see all the other kids. See how they're smiling? Look at their buckets. Their buckets are full. They're happy. And when your bucket is full and you feel happy on the inside, you're able to feel happy around other kids and other people. At recess, when he looked around, Felix suddenly realized that his grandpa was right. Everybody did have an invisible bucket. Wow. Because Felix's bucket is so full, he's able to notice opportunities to fill other people's buckets. So this teacher just dropped all of his papers, and his teacher's bucket was not very full. But look, Felix realized I can show a random act of kindness. I can help him. And remember, when you help someone and you fill their bucket, not only do you fill their bucket, but your bucket gets filled too. Wow. Felix invited some other kids to play ball with them, and that added drops to their buckets. Felix is sitting next to this kid, and he said, "Hey, is it your first day?" This boy said, "Yes, my name's Amir. I'm new." And that little boy, his bucket was almost empty. But when Felix talked to him and asked him how his day was going, a drop went into Amir's bucket. The strange thing was that for every drop he put into someone else's bucket, he felt another drop in his bucket. We already knew that, Crocodiles. When Felix burst in the door after school, he shouted, "You were right, Grandpa. I do have a bucket, and now I understand how it works." Then he saw Anna's torn doll. "Bad dog," he almost scolded. But then he thought, you know what? Dogs have invisible buckets too. Your doll will be okay, Anna, said Felix. Mom can fix her. Until then, do you want to help me build the tallest building in the world with my blocks? Wow. He's definitely in a different place this afternoon than he was this morning. And look how the story ended, crocodiles. And so they did. And both of their buckets are filled. Crocodiles, I loved this story. Such a big deal in kindergarten to be bucket fillers and not bucket dippers. Do you remember the breathing strategy, the drain that we learned last week when I first taught you about being a bucket filler? Hold out your hands like this. Tighten, tighten, tighten. Remember, we're going to tighten and breathe in, and then we're going to breathe out and release. Are you ready? Just like the drain, the faucet on a sink. Ready? Tighten, tighten, tighten. Breathe in and out. One more time. Breathe in, tighten, 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 and out. Last time, my friends. One more time. Breathe in, tighten, tighten, tighten that drain, and out. Have a fantastic and fabulous Friday today.